What's up, guys? Welcome to the Mississippi Real Estate Podcast, hosted by Ryan Watson.
And I'm Trip Sproul, where it's all about real life, real talk, and real estate.
Join us as we dive into the stories, trends, and insider tips shaping the world of Mississippi real estate.
Whether you're buying, selling, investing, or you're just curious about the market, we've got all the insights you need to navigate with confidence. So if y'all are ready, let's get real.
All right, welcome back to the Mississippi Real Estate Podcast. We have a very special guest today. He is a dear friend of mine as well, and he's an inspector. His business is Insight Property Evaluations, and his name is Brock Ainsworth. What's up, Brock?
How y'all?
Man.
Thank you for having me, man.
Glad to have you today.
I was trying not to laugh in your intro over the
Well,
broadhead conversation.
Yeah, of course, we were just talking about hunting and arrowheads and broadheads, and we'll get off into that maybe in a minute.
Yeah, maybe so. Why not? Podcast day, man.
Yeah.
Welcome
Podcast
to the Mississippi Real Estate Podcast Show. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank y'all for having me.
man.
We're going to learn a little bit about some first home inspector.
Yes. Yeah, her first home inspector.
I'm just going to ask this out of the gate. What college of choice?
As far
Are
as
you still Mississippi State?
yeah, I mean, honestly, where my family went, I don't really. Maroon's kind of my thing. Just 'cause
You know, we've had.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I've heard enough.
That's what I'm talking about.
We've had Miss.
Where my bell at?
We had. I'm digging for an Ole Miss. We're getting an Ole Miss person on here.
I need a cowbell. Somebody give me a cowbell.
Anyway, I know we're going to be
pissed straight
sponsored.
I forgot
We're going to be
he was a
sponsored
rep,
by
so
Mississippi State for too long. All these.
That must tell you
State
that
people.
they're a great school.
I know.
And these Ole Miss guys, it gets to them, man. It really gets to
Oh,
them.
it's
I've noticed.
It gets to others more than it gets to me. I just want.
He's eat alive right now.
I just can't talk about other things at college because I didn't go to state. But anyway.
Well, let's jump right into it. Brock,
man.
tell us, for people, like I know you really well, but for people that are listening that don't know you, tell us where you're from. Like, let's start there. Where you from?
Who is
Who's
Brock?
Brock?
Well, I grew up originally in South Jackson area, Byram, back before Byram was Byram. Moved out to the reservoir when I was 8, 9 years old. Started going to Northwest, so I basically grew up in that community.
Yeah.
Reservoir,
Where we
Rankin
met,
County.
Northwest Rankin.
Yeah, and I've pretty much been over this way my whole life. So, yeah, grew up in this area. Didn't go to college. Finished high school. Went to work. Started swinging a hammer. Started framing houses, which I'm very thankful for. I learned a lot about just some of the mechanic type stuff and geometry and all those things you use in school that you probably would never use in your life.
Right.
I got to see some of that really come to life on a job site, building a house.
For sure.
So that's kind of where I started out in the working field. Joined the Reservoir Fire Department in 2014. Worked with them for about 5 years.
I think I remember that. Yeah.
So I was a career fireman over there for about 5 years. And honestly, man, that was probably one of my most favorite deals up to this point. It's just not as lucrative of an occupation. I mean, most of the guys had to have a good second side job, a wife that has a pretty decent job, just to kind of balance out the difference. But as far as the occupation itself, man, this is as cool as it gets. It's camaraderie, brothers, just like us sitting in this room. And that really shaped a lot of why I kind of shifted towards inspections, a lot of the safety aspects of being a fireman. Just kind of self-awareness, situational awareness. So that's kind of in the working scheme. That's kind of where I grew up. Kind of been over here ever since. Man, I can't get away from it.
Yeah.
I've always said if I move, I'm going to Florida or Texas. Those are my two options.
How close have you gotten to actually doing that? Not very.
I'm still here.
Not yet, anyway.
If I could figure out how to keep all three of these kids fed long enough, I may could put some up to go towards that.
There you go.
It's tough these days, man.
So you got 3 kids?
I do. I have 3 daughters, 10, 8, and one's fixing to be 5.
Ooh.
Heck yeah.
All girls. So it's just challenging.
You got a boy dog?
Even the dog's a female.
You need a boy dog.
Even the dog's a fememe, man. So
Hey, them girls, man, I say it all the time. My 2, I've got 2 girls and a little boy, but man, them girls they just do something.
They're
to your
different.
Daddy's heart.
Yeah,
Man, they're definitely different.
Yeah,
it's challenging. As they get older. My oldest child now is approaching that 11, 12-year-old age. So less about what Daddy says and kind of more, experimenting and learning things on her own accord without my say necessarily.
Little
It's
preteen.
challenging. it's challenging for sure.
Yeah, so my son is turning 13 in like next week, but I dread my daughter who's 9 turning a teenager versus
13.
him. And I know it's not fair. My wife's always like, you got to treat them the same. I'm like, she's different. I don't know what it is. There's things about, there's things I'm just not ready to go through with her yet. I guess I know because she's going to breaking daddy's heart regardless. There's going to be a guy that comes into the picture eventually. I ain't ready for that. Not ready for her to drive. All those things.
I get to do all that.
You get to do 3,
man.
yeah. Well,
3 weddings.
That's what I was getting at.
3 nice vehicles. A boy, you can just throw a boy in an old beat up pickup with no AC and say, get on down the road to school.
So do you have one that's really smart and one that's athletic and one that they're like, hopefully they just get through?
That's the scenario, man.
Like this one's going to get a full ride, go to work college.
Exactly
this one's going to get an athletic scholarship, and then we're just going to have to help this other one along.
That's exactly right.
They're going to be living with mom and daddy.
The youngest child, Veda is 4. But if you get a soccer ball out in the yard with her and the older kids, Veda just, she runs all around them, and I can tell she's got the feet and the hands.
Oh, yeah.
The oldest kid is kind of the brainiac. She actually was writing a note the other day in the living room about how she loves school and was ready to go back.
That's what I'm talking about.
Girl, that mentality will carry you far in life. She said, I want to learn some more. I said, well, that's good. We just need to kind of harness that into, there's lots of information out there, but, get some goals set up for you.
Yeah, my oldest, our oldest is the same. She wants to read a book, wants to go to the library. I'm like, whose child are you?
Yeah, that gets some from the mama side. That
where
ain't
do
you
get that from? It's like, I want another book. I finished this one. I'm like, how many books have you read? 4 or 5 this summer. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure they're all 3 sweethearts, and
and
I know Daddy's doing a good job of being protector and provider and everything like that. I guess I didn't realize you were a framer at one point or whatnot. So how did you get into that? How did you just get into that?
I'm sure you remember a guy named John Wellgoes.
Yeah,
He was a contractor back then in those days. And after high school, I met him and Jamie Ross and a few guys that I knew from that they were a little bit older than I was. Probably a year or 2 ahead of you, maybe.
Yeah, I think
Barrett, Page, those guys.
Yeah, they were ahead of me for sure. Yeah.
So I got linked up with John through Sims, which is Barrett's little brother. He and I framed houses together for a long time. Ended up in the Delta building some duck camps.
Oh, wow.
For the Donahue brothers and several of your rich farmers up that way, man.
Yeah.
It was pretty neat.
You saw some cool stuff up that way.
I did.
Did you get to go duck hunt up there?
They never invited us back for that. This was one of them highfalutin places.
I feel like they could have gave you one, give me one duck hunt.
That's a tough position to be in.
The back of the property was high fence area. They had red stag and all that kind of stuff. So that tells you about me coming in there to shoot some banded critters. I don't know if they're gonna let me have it.
My type of hunt is different, apparently.
Probably the worst experience out of that whole Delta stuff. There, I remember it was about this time of year. It was July. Of course, we're in areas where you drive through all the kudzu and the little rolling hills, and we're way back in the cut. I go out, man. That they were supposed to drop a to-go urinal out there for all the contractors on site, so nothing was around, man. So I ended up in a bind, had to find a spot, and I ended up with red bugs.
Oh,
head to toe.
Oh man!
Had to sit in a bath, and so it was my least favorite experience of all, being out in the wilderness like that. I've had some chigger bites and things.
Yeah.
I was covered from sole of my foot to my neck.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
So I learned then there's certain things you don't do as far as touch, especially in the Delta. Everything in the Delta is bigger. It bites harder. And mosquitoes look like pterodactyls.
It's a whole nother world in the summertime. Like I grew up going to the Delta in the wintertime when everything's just kind of dormant and bugs are gone. It's freezing cold. And you don't have to worry about anything, snakes or anything.
Right.
But you go in the summertime, it's a whole nother, like you're talking about, it's a whole nother world.
I don't even get to the point where I even like to, I love being outdoors and I love going to our deer camp and everything, but my least favorite time to go be in the woods or go to our camp to hang out or maintain and do yard is right now in the middle of the summer.
Y'all are kind of on the edge of the Delta, right?
Yeah, we're right on the hill zone in Delta Edge, and so, but shoot, you get out in any of those fields with
They
tall
probably just
grass.
come right out of the Delta right up.
You don't
in-
even have to brush it. I think they jump on you from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they just
I mean, you're bumping limbs and ticks are falling.
ticks
and it's
everywhere,
just-
and there's so many of these ticks now that'll just can mess you up. Lyme disease.
They've been, yeah, I've heard
seed
about
ticks
that.
that get you like you don't even can't even eat red meat anymore. I don't.
Yeah.
Dude, I spray a whole bottle of tick off if I go, and I don't even. I'm gonna even
I'm
get out the
eating some
side
red
by
meat.
side. I'm just like, probably inhaling all that deets, but not good for you. But damned if you do, damned if you
Lyme
don't.
disease, the alternative is Lyme disease.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's right. So
something's got to get you,
So, so your construction time when you were framing, doing all that thing, that kind of led you into getting into
real estate a little.
real estate. You know, that aspect of real estate and everything, and that led you into your career of doing inspection stuff.
Sure. And I mean, it was across the board. It was a lot of things. My daddy and I, many years ago, he did scored and stained concrete.
Yeah.
Back when Caroline was being built, some of the builders out that way. And he ended up with a lot of work and a lot of jobs. So very quickly I was learning how to lay out floors and cut and cover, and from electrical to, I did a lot of different things, man.
Yeah.
You had a background in trade stuff. Have you ever thought about doing the building thing at one point?
Man,
Like
I actually,
yourself? Like,
I'm glad you asked that. I was going to kind of share some of that this morning. This year I started the business for my own, on my own.
that's your inspection business?
Yes.
Okay.
And in February, I had an accident with a chainsaw. I was helping a friend of mine, lived up in Pisgah. Just bought some property, had dead pines everywhere. Nothing majorly
Tony.
big, just the light pole size pines.
Yeah.
We've been cutting all day, or I have been cutting all day rather, and got tired. Should have called it, and I reached up for a limb that was probably 3 inches in diameter. It was binded between something, and I leaned up, threw that other hand up there to kind of support it. Because I had a 16-inch bar saw. It's not like it was a big daddy,
Yeah.
But I got complacent and comfortable, and I mean, man, that dude jumped, and it literally.
I see this.
Yeah.
And I praise God for it to this day, man. It literally cut that third tendon in my hand. I'm not even sure if that's the correct medical term, but the third finger tendon. And they were able to sew it. Basically, they just balled the tendon back up, and in a couple, 3 months, I was doing therapy and working through it. So that was a big hiccup getting started in the inspection world for me.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to work.
Because you were working for somebody else before this.
Yes.
For our listeners, just so y'all understand, he was working for somebody else right before this all happened, and you had planned to go out on your own.
Yes.
And work for yourself and start your own business, and then that happened.
Yes, I was kind of, like I said,
slowed
I
it
was
down
2
a
months
little
in, and the beginning of this year was it was dead for a lot of folks. It was slow. People were still unsure about a lot with the interest rates and trying to wait and see what was going to happen, shake up with the market. But
I remember calling you and saying, "Hey man, I got something going on. How's your hand doing?" And I remember you telling me, "Man, I can't do it right now. Maybe a couple weeks, or it'll be healed then, or whatever." But
that was in the beginning phase when I actually ended up at the hospital and was supposed to be transferred down to Baptist, where they were going to look at it. As a surgeon down that way that was going to kind of give me the the scoop on what we had to do.
Yeah.
But I ended up staying home another night, and then the next morning went to him. So I was unsure of what to tell people at that point. I was thinking, man, we get this thing sewed up, and then
chainsaw with them hands, sew it up.
And I literally, when that happened, I was way out in Pisgah. I had one person there with me.
Yeah, what was the surprise effect when that happened? Like, did you go into instant panic mode? Did you go into like, did it even hurt? Was it shock? Like,
well,
what was that like?
I had a new blade on the saw, brand new blade.
fresh.
So with knives and stuff, y'all know as well as I do from skinning a deer or a fish or anything of that nature.
Yeah.
With a sharp blade, generally you don't feel something like that when it cuts you until you see that you're bleeding or something
Just
like
that it touched you.
So I guess it more or less I was in shock for a minute. And as I got back to the truck, I had a roll of duct tape and some cloth stuff in the side thing of my truck door.
So
I run, I'm standing out there with this guy that was there with me, Tony, and of course he's freaking out.
I would have been 100% freaking out.
Well, I know Tony, so I can't imagine how Tony was. Just knowing him, I know he was freaking out.
Well, my instincts as a first responder kicked in at that point. I mean, all the stuff I'd learned about EMS and medical type stuff. My hand directly went in the air. And of course I get to the truck and I'm trying to find pinch points to cinch down. And I had some old paracord
Sure.
a roll of just cut paracord in the truck, and I started tying knots and looping and stuff. And Tony's sitting there looking at me like, man, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
So I grabbed paper
Trying not to
towels.
bleed out.
I grabbed paper towels and I start wrapping my hand. He's like, "What we do?" I was like, "Man, I'm going to the hospital. I don't know what you're doing."
Yeah.
So I probably, it may not have been the best move, but knowing Tony, we may have had to stop and get a pop or something on the way to River Oaks. And I thought, no, I'm gonna get in my truck and scat on down there.
Yeah,
So
Tony, he's the kind, he'd be like, hey, man, we got to stop real quick.
So I'm riding to River Oaks, you know, I got my hand up in the air out the window with duct tape and paper
my
towels flying off,
God.
blood running down my
Oh,
arm. But,
my
you
Oh,
know,
gosh.
but God protected me through that, man, because you know, anytime you have blood loss type stuff, thankfully it was not as bad as it could have been. You know, I could be missing that whole section of my hand.
Yeah,
I
you
was
could have
very,
just
very
really
grateful.
chopped it off completely. It'd have been-
Yeah, it could have easily.
That's one of my, man, I use a chainsaw all the time. That's one of my worst fears is accidentally, you know, doing this and hitting my leg or whatever.
Well, it's like he said, it's easy
But you
to
just
do.
don't
You
think-
know, when you get out there, you cut a few of them, you get comfortable, and
You
you've
complacent.
been using chainsaw all your life or whatever. It don't take but one little. I mean, those trees get in a bind real quick if you don't know what you're doing or how to back them out. I mean, a lot of accidents happen. I probably need. Everybody, all of us probably need at least the chainsaw britches, you know, to protect your legs.
I get out there with shorts and Crocs on. I'm like,
See, we said this last time when you talk about weed eating last podcast with Crocs on. I said that's just your redneck tendency right there.
Waiting
I'm
on
sorry.
it to throw a rock into that crock and bust your toenail out of there.
Yeah, just wedge right in there.
That weed eater I use will shoot a rock, you know, 150 yards like a laser.
I do have a broken window right now in my house.
I know.
My brand new house.
I know. Sarah told me.
We got to get that fixed.
So I found out you were first in the inspection world when you actually came and did an inspection out in Terry.
I remember that one.
And you were working for the guy that you were previously with, and I guess I didn't know that he had picked somebody up, and so when we got out there, I was like, Brock, what are you doing? He was like, so he kind of told me he was in the inspection world at that point, whatever, and did an amazing job, man. That property. It closed, so there you go.
There you go.
Man,
It worked out.
One thing I've enjoyed about this job is you know, being a home inspector you have your spot in this real estate transaction. You know, you're generally not the most likable person in a way as far as the information that you're about to provide is usually to inform somebody there's some issues to some degree. I've tried to be as humble as I can be and go into these things with the utmost integrity and educate myself and study and just, you know, I have lots of friends that are HVAC guys and plumbers and roofers. And things change with code, things get updated, so I try to stay in touch with them. Anytime I see an older plumber on a job site, I talk to him.
Yeah.
And the tankless water heater questions and discharge pipes, there's all kind of that stuff that comes up in y'all's reports as well.
Yeah.
And there's guys that see it differently.
Yeah.
But I generally lean towards, you know, what the code stuff says and what the old heads know as common practice, because things that cost the homeowner money, obviously we want to do it correctly. You know, anything that's in the attic that deals with piping, you know, it needs to be correct. So
all the gas fittings and stuff.
right, I mean those are things that definitely affect the condition of the property more than anything, and safety wise too.
What's incredible to me, man, is that you have to have knowledge of everything on a house.
Yeah.
You're not just like a contractor. I don't think people realize this. You're not just a contractor that's just putting a roof on or just doing HVAC or just doing electrical or whatever. You have to have a knowledge and keep up with the information that changes, you know, day to day with real estate. You got to know everything about all that stuff, and that's incredible to me. I don't know how in the world, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I mean
It's
I
just
get those
incredible.
reports and we go through them, and you know there's no way. I mean, yeah, you have to keep
learn
up
it
with
as you
everything.
go, but-
Yeah, well, I mean I know how to. Obviously, we know how to like look at
Negotiate
it.
it,
Doing what he's doing, as far as like actually doing the inspection, that's not our lane at all.
No.
Only thing I do is I think I got mad at one home inspection, but there,
For the Brock?
No.
No, I'm kidding.
And I can't even remember what the whole thing was that set it off, but there was a discrepancy, and he was just standing firm on his, you know, it almost killed the deal, but it didn't. And then I went back and apologized. I mean, because I don't get mad at any home inspection I get, because you can't see what you can't see.
Sure.
And you know that on any home that's been lived in, there's going to be issues. But heck, there's issues on new builds. You know what I mean? And so, matter of fact, I get surprised sometimes where I have these houses 1970 something, whatever, these old houses, and you're like, man, this thing's going to be a train wreck. And the report is way less than I've had new construction where it's like blue tape city and things, a way thicker report than the old house. Yeah. And the old house has actually got good bones and just a few things that like, oh, that makes sense. But we just have to, I try to take that knowledge and I try to say, hey, the big stuff maybe we asked for, but some of this stuff is just going to be your punch list once you move in here. Yeah. Because you want to fight for your clients, but you don't want to get too in the weeds of like replacing every broken light plate because you're going to find things that are minimal, and we try to focus on the really big stuff.
Well, and honestly, man, the general scope of a home inspection is supposed to be the 4 major systems of the home: your roof, your HVAC, your plumbing, your electrical. That's a big and then those are main focal points for me a lot. But then there's other aspects, and something that's helped me a lot with the structural side of things is knowing what framing in an attic is supposed to look like. Knowing that roof structures can't really be supported on a ceiling joist unless you get a framer there and they've explained, hey, we span this amount of space between this area. And one thing I've learned is that it's easy to act like you know everything and type up a bunch of stuff. But to me, I believe that as a professional, my job is to inform and to let another professional get there. Yeah. And I can say it in a respectful way that says, hey, this and this, something doesn't look right about it to me, or we got water in the pan under a unit in the attic. Yeah. Let's get a good HVAC guy out here to look at it, service, clean it, and rock on. So I try not to be an alarmist. Like sealing around windows, I note this physically in my report. That's just a part of routine maintenance on a house, man. The foggy windows, that comes up a lot in the older houses. Some people are very meticulous about those things, and some people could care less. And
there's some people that are like don't care less and know the window's still serving its purpose. And there's some people like, I just want new windows. Yeah. This is an opportunity to get new windows.
But you have to remember too, it's just like y'all with agents.
They'll try to take advantage of it.
When you're looking through houses trying to find that one, you really have to learn how to discern what's important, what's not, because you surrender a really good house over some foggy windows and you lose it. Right. And then you move on and you're trying to get back to that spot of like, man, I don't want the condition of that. So there's going to be ups and downs with all of them. Yeah. Roof seems to be the biggest thing.
I know roofs. Right now. Yeah, roofs. That's the topic of the year.
We've had some good ones the last couple of weeks.
I mean, matter of fact, the one we're working on right now.
You just put a roof on.
Well, yes, we did just put a roof on. But what I'm talking about is another house that we have, and I'm not going to say people's names or companies or anything like that, but there's one we're working on right now where Brock went in there and inspected, did an amazing job, and we ended up finding some structural stuff in the attic that was not right. And after looking through it, I think the roofing company went through there and they changed out 20 decking boards. Wow. And if you know what a decking board is, if you don't know what a decking board, I'll explain it. That's basically, you've got the frame of the roof structure, then you've got decking boards, then you have your underlayment or your roofing felt, some people call it, and then you got your shingles. So they replaced 20 decking boards on this roof. And then Brock's telling me that there's structural things. I'm going, okay, well, if they change 20 decking boards, it's probably the roofing company's fault. Well, the roofing company's not taking fault.
Uh-oh.
They said we didn't do it. I don't see anything wrong. And I've got 3 other people, and an inspector saying there's something wrong. So anyways, we're negotiating that whole thing, but that's important. Because of them changing that roof out, there's an aspect of like, this roof may fall in.
That's a whole different thing than just having an old roof.
Yeah, and see, but because of what he did and what he found, my point by this is that we're getting that fixed. It's going to be fixed and taken care of, and the roof's probably not going to fall in. It's going to be just fine. And so I appreciate you. That's my whole moral of this, is you did a wonderful job and you found that, and that's the whole thing. That's the reason I'm saying that.
Well, that specific area had some very obvious sign that things have been,
tinkered with.
And the larger these homes get, the bigger they go with the roof structures, the taller, the more cosmetics they try to add. I mean, all that changes the way you can actually brace. I mean, the taller an actual structure gets, the bracing changes. You really need load-bearing stuff beneath it to to support all those things. So it's kind of hard as you get,
Sure.
you know, these, and plus the leak issues with all these roofs that have, you know, 40 tie-ins from dormers and skylights and all the.
Buddy's dad, buddy of mine's dad, you know, Hal Brown, Tyler's daddy. He said a long time ago, I remember, he's like, man, he's like, if you can just get you a good house, if people just go back to a big gable roof, those roofs would be a lot easier and a lot less expensive, you know, because, I mean, you're talking about just the price of a house. Now, if you're doing a new build or construction, like the more cuts they have on that roof, the more expensive it is, the way that line lays. I had a home inspection. I have a listing not too long ago, and it was a bigger house, more, you know, it was a little bit bigger house, and they had a good pitch on it. And the home inspector for that buyer, he didn't like put it in red or what. It was just like hey, needs to be seen. But it was talking about the bracing and how that pitch of that roof was, and that was probably the first time I've seen that. I was like, oh. But he said, even the home inspector said, it's fine. It just, there's nowhere else you can brace it right here with that roof. But it just an FYI almost. I was like, whoa.
Well, see,
there's always scary, but
there's always going to be those exceptions, because the flip side of it is you put structural weight where it's not supposed to be, and then you end up with, you know, walls and stuff that move, or cracks in ceilings in the garage areas, and in garages is a lot of the places where you see it, especially on a hip construction type area. Unless there's a beam there or something, a lot of times that's an open ceiling.
Is that because they've got such a long span of open?
Yep, usually. And again, like he said though, man, the gable style roofs, if you think about it, there's usually one main general hallway in a house like that, which means there's going to be some load bearing type walls there. Plus they vent really well. You know, the more bends and turns and different heights in the roof structure you add, it creates ventilation issues.
That makes sense.
Yeah. You know, they're not as pretty as some of these, but he's like, man, if you just put everything you want, just do one build gable roof on it.
That's right.
If they can figure that out, or just go to it or whatever, it'd save a lot of issues.
Sure.
But the roof, you're right, man. The roofs have been
That's been a whole thing, man.
With the way the insurance carriers are
about to
changing
say a lot's
the
changed.
rules.
I'm hearing.
Yeah, I mean, I have a listing over in Barnett Bend. We just changed, my seller just changed the roof out because, you know, it was a 15-year-old roof, and the buyer that we had before the deal fell apart for other reasons, they couldn't get carriers to, you know, insure it because of the old roof, and can't do ACV when mortgage companies want replacement costs. And so it's been a thing for sure. Yeah. But he was willing to replace it, and he did. And he's got a beautiful brand new roof. It went from a 3-tab to architectural single, so somebody's going to get a
nice upgrade, man.
It's a really nice upgrade.
Like
And he was willing to do it. But there's some that are willing, and there's some that aren't willing, and so that's where it gets really tough. Sure. Do you go above the roof line? I know a lot of inspectors will just kind of climb up roof line, and they're like,
and I usually, and these are actually boots from Academy that have a gum bottom. And I've actually done some roof work in my life. A friend of mine was a roofer for a little while, does pool work now, but I've learned that getting in these valleys and stuff, and you know, I'm trying to be as mindful of areas. You know, I don't have cougar paws, I don't have ropes to throw over ridge tops and hook ladders, and but I learned as you do this, you kind of learn to connect the dots with certain things. I mean, if I can see granular loss from the ground, I already know that's an area that I'm gonna come back and ladder for sure. Some of those spots that with roofs that have the granular loss like that, it's about like walking on roller skates, if you will. So you know,
be very careful
when it's loose like that. It may be an attic that has poor ventilation, or power vent fans that hadn't worked in 4 years and it hadn't been venting, and somebody had no idea. But everyone I can get on safely, I absolutely try to get. I look at chimney caps, and
I just know some inspectors like
and it's generally not required for us to get up there. I personally, though, I think that's a major component of the house, and I'm going to do my absolute best to check flashings and areas that, you know, a lot of the big roof to wall intersections that are above, you know, stoop areas that have the cosmetic little jut outs and the big valleys that come down beside it. You know, those are always leak-prone areas. So I try to get there as best I can and check the flashings out. And I've seen some really good work in those spots. I mean, the guys that do the huge metal flashings from way back, they drop the shingles and they pick up metal because they can shape all that and get it to where it falls correctly. It's nice to see when people do it right. It makes my job a lot easier.
A lot easier,
you know, contrary to popular belief, I don't like finding a lot of stuff for the house. You know, it means I got a lot to do that evening.
Oh, you had to write up that report.
While I'm getting kids to ballet and dance and trying not to let my head
I'm not
spin
gonna
off.
lie, man. I just cringe. You can see it. There's a lot of houses you can see it, but if the stuff you can't see, I cringe when I hear it doesn't have flash, and I'm like, oh my gosh, because there's some roofers that don't just do the patchwork and pull back, roll back shingles and add flash and go back. There's some that will, and there's some that are really good at it. Yeah, and then I've had that, and I'm like, that's not.
Well, see, and then there's spots like that on some inspections I have where issues are so small that it's, there are a lot of very good qualified contractors that are kind of across the board, man, that have some very good skills in what they do. Something as simple as the flashing is usually at a little short vertical roofed wall, or something that's usually as simple as moving shingles back, installing whatever size they decide to use for that spot. And then, I mean, it's not a hard thing to repair. I try to be careful about getting roofers there for small ticket items like that, because the rates for those guys are generally higher than something that a handyman can handle, like snugging up a toilet or something. You don't need a plumber to snug a toilet. And a lot of that is just fear. And honestly, I can say this as a home inspector, a lot of that is just fear and the fact that we want to recommend a qualified contractor for absolutely everything. And there are parameters for that, but you still have to keep things in the context of what we're doing. Sealing around windows, we don't need the best guy in town with a caulk gun to put some sealing around a window.
It's not real hard to do if you draw a straight line.
But I think, like you said, I think where it gets, sellers and buyers see that in the contract where it said, and then the inspection report, qualified, professional, licensed, bonded, whatever. My thing is, I 100% agree with you, and I think there's a lot that can be more or less a DIY, like snugging your toilet down or sealing around windows. But if you have more prevalent issues there, like gas line stuff or whatever, I just tell them, while your plumber's there, just have them knock the whole thing out. You know what I mean? I mean, they're not going to add much to that.
No.
They have to come tighten it down. That's a little different.
And I'm usually pretty good about trying to lump that stuff together, man. And like I said, connecting the dots. Yeah. If we got a couple of leaking peak traps, I'm gonna say, hey, a plumber can check it out, or a good qualified contractor. There's things that definitely call for the best in the business at times. But
well, I'll tell you, there's one really big truth about when you're going through contracts. The time that everything usually falls apart is during inspection.
Yeah, inspections are not my most favorite part of the whole transaction, and it's not. It doesn't have anything to do with the inspector.
That's right. I was about to say it doesn't have anything to do with you or anything that they do.
It's just
people are just so
weird
easy about
that's
that
their
sometimes.
out clause, though. You know what I mean? Yeah. They get a peek behind the curtain, like you said. It could be a very great house that just needs a little TLC, and the current owners, for whatever reason, and we see that a lot, didn't take care of. I had I was doing something, I can't remember, continuing education, or if we had somebody come in giving their spiel to our brokerage about home inspections, and one of these guys said, they just recommend every 3 to 5 years, if you're still living in the house, just do a home inspection, I know the rates are different on the size of the house, but invest into your property. See if anything code-wise changed. And then if you get your own inspections throughout the time you live there, which seems like, if you think about, people are like, I don't want to spend a couple $100 if I'm not moving. But if you think about it, and you already kind of did just like a house, if you pay attention to your hot water heater and all that stuff we call preventive maintenance, that's preventive maintenance. Call you out. Hey, I've been living in this house for 10 years. We might move in the next 2 or 3. We come out and get a home inspection. Then you get a little bit ahead of the game on some of that stuff, and you may not be as surprised. Me and Ryan talk about this all the time, and I've said it on past podcasts. I wish there was something I could do, and you can't make everybody, I guess you can't. I don't want to be a stickler and seem like I'm coming down on people, but people just need to start taking care of their properties again. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because by the time they get ready to sell, they want to sell at the top end of the market, but they haven't done anything, and it's a harder conversation because especially after COVID and all these prices jumped, everybody's like, well, things are selling at X. Right. So we keep trying to educate our clients. Markets are changed. We're not at COVID anymore, but also, in specific, regardless, new house or old house, there's going to be things that pop up. Sure. Yeah. And but that's why.
Well, we had a situation. I don't mean to cut you off. We had a situation where we made it through inspections. Everybody agreed on the inspections on this house. everything was good to go, and we were moving forward to closing. They were going to fix, my sellers were going to fix everything for the buyers, all the stuff they had asked for. And we get to appraisal, and it's an FHA loan, and that turns into a whole nother ball game.
Yep.
Where, and I was thinking with an FHA loan, they just focused on the main structure of the house. Well, there was a shed that was, probably 80 feet from the house, and it had some rotten wood around the bottom of it. Well, now we're at a situation where we've got to fix the shed that adds, matter of fact, on the appraisal it says adds no value to the property. But the buyers can't get a loan, an FHA loan, unless you fix that.
Gotta fix that exterior rotten wood.
That wasn't hit. I think they hit on a little bit of rotten wood stuff with the inspection, their inspector that they used. But that's another thing where you.
Yeah, it's just
man, what in the world do you do about this?
It's just a volatile point of the transaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, and really, there's been times, man, where I don't really look at additional structures, just storage buildings and things of that nature, honestly, because a lot of people don't ask for
power,
it. Well, and there's different
applications.
I may open that thing up, and there may be every wire hanging from the ceiling that's not finished out, and what do you really tell a buyer at that point? I've had some scenarios. I did a house where they had a guest house off to the side of it, 800 square feet, something to that degree.
Yeah.
And man, I opened the door and I immediately turned around and I called and I said, man, I'm not going to charge you anything for this because I'm not going to do this structure. We do the main house. Yeah. And I said, I just don't feel right about taking your money to tell you that you need a contractor of every kind. There was service wire hanging from ceilings.
So they hadn't finished that
dishwasher was laid out at the counter, water. No water on. Just all kind of things that what do you want me to tell you? You need an electrician. You need a plumber. You need a roofer.
You need a builder.
You need to finish building
there's
this thing.
a 3-foot stain on the ceiling with a hole going through the center of it. There's a roof leak, and I'm just like, do you really want to pay me to tell you that you need these people?
Yeah.
This is where your bread and butter is anyway, with the main structure of the house.
That's right. That's where you're gonna be living.
That's what you're paying for. Honestly.
That's the loan folks tell you. You got to get it.
Well, I called the appraiser and I was like, look, man, I know you got to do your job. I was like, but I got a buyer that's okay with the rotten wood and a seller that's okay with the rotten wood. We're just trying to move forward, and he said, well, I can't tell you what to do or whatever, but I can, tell you what I got to look for. And he helped in that aspect. And sometimes you just got to call people.
Yeah,
say,
and that's in the day though.
Yeah,
without going more the weeds, you got it worked out.
We got it worked out. Yeah, moving forward with that. I guess I'm a little bitter about that situation.
But all that to be said, when you said the home inspection, and I say it's not my favorite part of the transaction. It has nothing to do with the home inspector themselves. It's just I know that people can get very they just see this report and they're like, that's a lot of stuff. And at the end of the day, if you just sit down and let that marinate for a little bit, a lot of it's going to be a lot of stuff.
Sure.
But it's very minimal at the most part.
Yeah.
And then if it's not, that's when you go back to the drawing board
on
negotiations.
Why we do this. That's what I tell
you go back
buyer.
to the seller and say, hey, okay, this is kind of important, for our buyers. And they're like, yeah, we, they see it. If they didn't know about it, they do now. And they're like, well, most times logical heads prevail.
Sure.
And you can move it forward. Not to say that obviously they can fall through because of that.
The first thing I tell my clients before we even get the inspection report back to my sellers, I say, look, or I explain or my people who are buying, either one, I say, look, it's going to look like a lot at first, but just read over everything, look at everything, calm down a little bit.
Yep.
And then let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's come back
because
together.
it's going to be, you're going to think my house is falling in, but my new house is going to no, your house is fine. Everything's fine.
It's still livable.
These people were living there before you bought it, and they were living just fine, and everything was working.
The other thing is, roofs are a problem, I guess, or have been recently. But the other thing that has been, and this isn't anything new, but it just seems like it's gotten crazier. The GFCI, all the electricals around the house.
Sure.
And some of them are farther away. Man, it seems like every electrical outlet needs to I was like, just put them all in the whole house.
I got to be honest, from an inspector standpoint, that's one of my least favorite things to report on, especially because, like Madison, there's areas, there's jurisdictions that don't enforce any kind of electrical updates as far as, separating neutrals and panels. I know y'all seen that a
Oh,
million
that's
times.
that's almost every house, it seems
Yeah.
like,
You
specifically.
know, and,
like,
and see, I try to keep it very general on that stuff, and knowing that Madison and the other places have different and code enforcement guys, code officials that enforce different things. I think I try not to overstep and say too much to seem like, hey, I'm the inspector, I know everything that's going on. I'm just like, hey, it's generally required that XYZ be ground fault protected. You know,
Yeah.
you could, and at that point, I've usually talked to buyers about older systems in the house, and we're talking 25 years. You know, not even a 50 or 60-year-old house before they really started pushing GFIs in the garage, all the kitchen counter stuff. You know, bathrooms, kitchen counters, those are very practical applications for me that I see. You know,
Absolutely.
but I've been back to houses before that have passed safety inspections that none of that changed, and I don't. So and I'm looking at my report going, well, why do I need to type all this?
Yeah.
You know, I would love to type less words in a day.
And we would too.
You know, if I don't need to go through with this, let's talk about it. I would love to know.
Sure.
Let's lighten the load a little bit.
Well, you're doing what you're supposed to do.
But that's, you know, and a lot of I've learned too. A lot of this is about the way you say things to people.
Yeah.
You can be an alarmist, or you can be an information guy, like somebody that says, "Hey, you know, this is what we got. This is why we do this." You know, this is to find out. You know, I'm not the greatest in the land. I try. I work very hard at what I do.
Absolutely.
Down to the Bellhaven and the Fondren and stuff that's 100 years old. And I've learned that you can't look at every house the same. There really is no cut and dry punch list. You have to be. You have to be kind of prepared to see stuff that's 100. Which honestly, man, I've seen some really cool mechanical things in a house that age. You know, now you pull down a attic ladder and the spring is thrown off the side. You got a 100-year-old house and they got these stairways and these big cast iron wheels, and it just slides on out smooth as, you know.
Smooth as butter. That's incredible.
But yeah, the electrical stuff, it comes up a lot. I mean, but I just note it for people and say, hey, you know, you could always check with an electrician about updates and see what that would look like. But I try not to overemphasize it if it's not really required in those areas.
So outside of roofs and the electrical outlets, what else do you typically see that's
drainage is a big thing
that you need to, like, hey,
here.
Buyers or sellers, like, start paying attention to X, moving on from here.
I think drainage around this area is a big deal. A lot of yards have some drainage problems, and you know, some of that is really and truly about how close together some of these houses are. I mean, you can only do so much with a yard once you get I mean, you can only do so much grade work.
You're 4 feet from the other house.
You can't build a yard up around the house. You know, you got weep holes and brick. I mean, everything's supposed to be at grade for certain reasons. Water penetration. I mean, all those things matter. So drainage is a big one. Down to a 30-year-old house that's got a patio that's leaning towards the house. I mean, that's an unfortunate thing to call, but it is a noteworthy call, because I would hate for one of y'all's buyers to move in, sitting in their screen porch one day and it's raining 6 inches and they got 4 inches of water on the patio floor.
Oh my gosh!
And there's some really cool alternatives to those fixes now, though. You know, Old Shan and companies like that, man, they do these foam lifts for concrete. I mean, I try to tell buyers it's not the end of the world. Like this, it's not. You know, it's not something.
They got some incredible technology these days.
Yeah, they really do. And then if you go, if everything is even like level on the structural side, but you have a drainage issue, like that's. I mean, most of these yard guys, even some of those foundation guys, they can come in and throw a French drain, a J drain, direct that water out. You know, I mean, I know a friend of mine who he it seems like he was on some of the levelest ground, and he went in, dude, and he put in this. I mean, it was like a pump. He had like sub pump stations and water come in and it would throw it out to the. I mean, I was like, man, that's a little overkill. But he does stuff to the nines like that all the time anyway.
That's
but
cool.
Makes sense,
there's
though.
any
I mean,
type you can get as a high tech as drain system you want around the house, or you just get the regular catch one. That will at least help direct water. Yeah. So gutters, no gutters. You know, some people are like, I don't like, speaking of getting away from the house, the water.
I think, man, if people are going to use, there's certain applications that they're good. If you've got 60-year-old oaks around your house and they're 10 feet from the sidewalls, and you're not going to invest in some real guards for the gutters, I mean, they end up creating more problems than good. You end up with backflow into the eaves and rotten wood and areas that are discharging against the foundation walls.
I guess that's why people, that he just made the point, is that I've heard people like, I don't want gutters because it makes the wood rot. The soffit boards and face boards rot quicker. But I'm like, are you cleaning your gutters?
I'll give you an example. I was at a house the other day, and it was raining pretty hard, which is my favorite time to do an inspection, honestly. I'm just kidding. That's not.
I was about to say, what?
I'm
So you can see
like,
leaks or something?
I'm sitting under my umbrella and it's just.
Oh,
I'm going. All right, I need to take a picture of this, but I'm not really sure what the right.
Sure.
I got to get up close and I can barely see it. And I mean, I've had to call them a few times over rain, but anyway, it was raining so hard. This gutter was full of debris, and I mean, it was just diving over the top of the gutter, and the dirt against the house is kind of low, and it was just going back that way. So again, that's one of those scenarios with trees. You got to keep them clean.
Yep.
You got to keep them to where they're actually flowing water consistently. Otherwise, roofline water can really create some problems. Getting back into the eaves and the wall cavities, that's why I see a lot of older homes with no weep holes. And
in the brick.
and there's and a lot of that too with the grade of the yard changes with time. Some of them end up below the soil line.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter to me because water that gets in from above or from beneath, it really needs that airway to dry.
You just said something that everybody might not know. So for buyers or sellers that haven't been around the process or around homes much, explain what a weep hole is.
It's basically, you have the brick, which is basically just a wall cladding. It's not. I mean, most people see cracks and stuff, and immediately now it can be a sign of some stuff like that, with just some major sign. But you got brick, and between there's a void space, and you have house wrap and wallboard.
Yep.
So any water that makes it between that space can absolutely get trapped between the brick and between those wallboards, foam board, what have you. So that's basically just a passageway for air to move through. Yeah. Kind of like the attic. You want airflow through the attic so you can get ventilation there.
Moisture can get out.
Yeah. So basically what he's saying is that like old school foundations that were conventional, whether they have a moisture barrier under it or not, there's some people found out they didn't grade that properly, but a conventional crawl space foundation allows that air to pass through, water and air and whatnot. So those weep holes are a way for slab structures to have that breathing ability.
Yeah. And it seems like a small thing.
Yeah.
But back to the drainage issues and the gutter stuff, if you end up with a yard where you have weep holes that are grade level, I mean, it is an opening that opens up to the slab edge and the green plates and the wall structure. I mean, so it has to be graded correctly. And now in a lot of the newer homes, I've noticed that they're going a little higher in the wall cavity with the actual weep holes. Yep. Used to they would stay kind of in that bottom third. And then now I've noticed that they're a little bit higher. And I think some of that's to accommodate for soil changes and people rip stuff out, put sod in. And
they build up their landscaping.
Right.
After it's been there for a while, they put more dirt down and more. So a good way to just fix that is if just a little... I guess a nugget take home. Just go around your house, and when you find one, if it looks like it's kind of halfway, just take you a little shovel and then dig it back.
Yeah, and what I mean? And that's one of those things I hate to call them in because it seems honestly like I'm sitting there looking at it like, man, dadgummit, I really want to make a stink about this.
Dig it back for them, bro.
But and honestly, dude, there's been some where I've actually tried to just look at it from a physical spot of me doing it and just saying, okay, before I say something about this, how practical is this? Is it going to matter? Is it going to change anything?
But that's typically something when you take that back, I can tell a seller like, hey man, and they're like, man, we'll.
It's a simple fix.
It's so easy.
Let them look at that wall length, figure out how many they need for X amount of feet. Pop a mortar joint, and it's really not a complex thing to get done, and it is a meaningful thing. But like I said, the flip side is you got them way too low. And you get a flat yard, and you get 4 inches of rain coming up that side, and now you got water in between. You know what I mean? So it's got to be graded correctly and all those things.
So I guess I didn't really think about that in the neighborhood aspect because these zero lot line neighborhoods, I mean, they'll build them up. You're right, and then our house sits down kind of in a cul-de-sac. We're on the low end, so we knew it was coming out. We put a J drain around the whole. Yeah. If you're looking at our house, the right side of our house, for that purpose. Sure. To try to catch as much of that water that comes down. So.
And there are a lot of drainage guys that can do a lot of awesome things, man. There's tons of different ways. Oh, yeah. I mean, down to just cutting some swales or water breaks or something that doesn't involve a lot of piping that you don't want to maintain. Yeah. But that's why it's important to get somebody there that knows what they're doing. Let them look at it. Say, hey, gutters, tie them into the catch base stuff on this side. One thing I've noticed with drains though is. Sometimes I'll find them and they're not in ideal locations, like a backyard that's got some slope. generally a drain needs to be at the lowest point in order
To be up on the
be
higher
most
side.
productive,
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, I don't know. I don't know how much water that's going to catch in that position.
Kind of
so.
running over it,
And
or if it's on the opposite side, it's not even getting there.
That's right. That's right. And the setup it matters too.
Yeah.
Just like that drain at your house. I mean, if it wasn't cutting water away just right, it wouldn't be worth the money to do it. So.
Yeah. But again, with a gutter or a drain
Sure.
comes the maintenance of that. I have to every year, I think twice a year. I don't do it when the snake. I do it before the snakes get out and when they go back. So right before when they're like, I go behind my fence where they have the discharge pipe, and I make sure it's all clear and that it's running towards a ditch behind the fence that it's supposed to go to and all that kind of stuff. And I had the guys out not too long ago, and they can kind of make sure that thing's running right. So you kind of have to maintain them where they can also get clogged.
And I note that in every report. Just I see those little catch base drains here and there, and I tell people, I don't see a lot of stuff in that area, but you make it talk to the current owner, see about any maintenance required. Every year, every 2 years they blow. And a lot of that too depends on the kind of soil type you have, what kind of debris is on the ground. If you got real loose, sandy, silty type stuff, obviously with leaves and pine straw, it's going to clog a little quicker. But yeah, it does matter. It's pointless to have a drain that's clogged and doesn't move water.
Now you're back to the issue why you got to.
That's right. Anyway. Now we just got a bunch of money in the ground that's unproductive.
Oh, for time's sake, I want to switch gears real quick.
Okay.
You're gonna like this one. So, Brock, tell me about the first time that you met Trip Spruill.
Man, our little.
It was so long ago,
snippet.
he may not even remember.
Yeah, I was going to tell you before we got off into this topic. I'll do the best I can, man, but I'm going to have to do some digging because we're talking double digits.
That's right. That's what we're here for.
20.
That's good content.
25 years.
I would
ago,
venture
maybe.
to say I could say I know Brock longer than you know Brock.
You
That's
probably
probably
have. Yeah.
Yeah, old Tripper was, he went to Northwest back in the day, played baseball, football, the things.
Yep, all the
dated
things.
a sister of mine for a little while.
He dated your sister.
And, Trip had the boats and the wakeboarding and all those things. And I remember that very vividly.
Yeah.
So you were all into the wakeboarding and.
Man, I was summertime on the water, wintertime in the woods.
Let's go.
You know what I mean? That was my MO.
Sure.
And I'd fish wherever I could in between. And I grew up on the reservoir and I had a bunch of buddies, and my mom, I was fortunate, my mom bought me a little old boat. I don't even know when I had that thing. I think it was my junior year I had that boat. I think I sold it my senior year to buy my first pickup truck. And but yeah, I had a boat and we learned. But I mean, we skied behind it, wakeboard behind it. We didn't really wakeboard behind it like we did on my other buddy's boat, Brandon Connor and Zach Luckett and some of those guys. They had the legit old school. Well, the old school Mastercrafts and stuff. And the ones that ride like really low. Back then, there wasn't no high wall boats like you see now when you're sinking them down.
And back then, there was a wooden rack on the back of it. You step over a little bit, and that was it.
That was
and you had a tower maybe, and that was about it.
And the tower wasn't like what you see now. It was a high fly pole.
Yeah.
Hey, man, it's come a long way. But we learned. I mean, we all went out there and did all that. And
so you told me a story. I want to hear.
You said
bored.
I was going to ask about the duct tape story.
Are you feeling vulnerable a little bit right now?
Man, I don't know where this is going.
That's the best part. I love it.
Well, he was talking about earlier about boarding because you asked me if I had fun with the kids this weekend because we finally got our boat out. And he was like, "You still boarding?" I was like, "Well, yes and no. I don't wakeboard anymore because you're right. I have gotten older, and it is, boy, it'll wear you out. But surfing is where we're at. Surfing's a young person and an old person sport. So that's what we're into now. Yeah, for sure.
Not as impactful on you when you fall and all those things.
It's way easier. Yeah. And you're way less sore. You don't have to worry about mouse trapping and busting eardrums and everything like that. We'll put the kids surfing on this video or whatever.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Just give me a video. We'll put it on there.
I think the podcast's about done, boys.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not.
All right. I
so
don't know what you two.
I heard something about a story about there was some duct tape involved.
It was a prom deal, maybe.
And
again, I told you I wasn't sure.
Was this you?
It was either Brittany or Julia in high school. They had a boyfriend that showed up to get them for prom. And my my Uncle
This
Jeff.
may not be true.
Yeah, your uncle duct taped me.
Yes, that's what
so
I want to
he
hear.
shows up.
Yeah,
man.
I
This
got
is-
duct tape. I
hey,
can't
look,
even remember. Yeah, I got.
there's going to be some
held-
parts left out because I don't remember it all.
Yeah,
as-
I mean that's
in
been a
detail.
while, but
What-
I can't remember if it was a chair. I got duct tape.
Let's hear your side of the story, Trip, real quick,
I
and
don't-
then I want to hear Brock's side.
I don't even. I mean, I remember the duct
I
tape,
may have
but
to
it
strike his
wasn't.
memory a little bit.
Okay.
It wasn't for
Well-
prom because we were. It wasn't that prom because we were dressed up. But was I asking her to go to prom?
Man,
Was it-
I honestly don't remember. I just remember that me and Hunter.
I
was-
remember
we had
Uncle-
we had a bonus room that went up the stairs right where you come in the garage door.
yeah.
And Jeff was right around that door, and
Yeah.
Trip walks in.
And he grabbed me and
Man.
duct taped me some for. I mean, I
So
think
hey,
he was
all
just
right.
being.
So
playful.
you were coming over to ask for your sister to go to prom or something.
Or I was
That's
just
what I'm
coming
hearing.
over.
I
I mean,
don't
it was right
remember the-
before prom or
I
something.
feel like it was
Okay.
around that time. They were going on a
Okay.
date or something to that
Yeah.
degree.
Either way, you were coming over
Just
there.
came over to the house and he
So-
grabbed me and duct taped me.
Duct taped you to the chair.
I just-
Well, you have to understand, Jeff.
He was-
my Uncle Jeff was. We called him Uncle Buck. If that tells you anything.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
I
right.
don't know
I
if,
remember
how long
that.
it's been since you've seen that movie, but
Yeah.
that's kind of the scoop on who Uncle Jeff was.
That's
Yeah.
But he was there in a set of overalls with no shirt. He had a 2-liter bottle as a spittoon, you know,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
trying to redneck it as much as he could.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he did a
and,
good job.
And then, of
doing
course,
that.
Trip walks in the door and he just he goes to
He
town.
just
on
wrapped
him.
me up, man. I don't even
Wraps
think
him up.
yeah, I was just duct taped.
That's just
And it was more, it was painful coming off,
Yeah.
obviously, than it was going on. I mean, he didn't write me up where I was so tight I was turning blue or whatever. But I think it was just his way of joking around.
And man,
It was just out of the blue.
when Hunter and I were kids, the same uncle
That's
would
hilarious.
he would drag
love this
he would drag us through the fishing pond, out off the side of the boat. Man, we'd get chewing tobacco and have a good old time. He was
Yeah.
just
Oh my
you know,
gosh.
Yeah.
he was wild, man.
What's
That,
all
that reminds me of a story real quick. I'll tell. My brother came home one day, my little baby brother, and he tells the story a lot differently. But we took him and we all held him up onto a pole, and we took duct tape and we taped him to the pole, and we left him out there. I don't know how long.
I can honestly say I've never duct taped anybody. I think after being
He
duct
couldn't
taped,
move.
Yeah, I don't
you
really know what.
Probably not going to duct tape anybody.
I'm not sure what the goal was
I don't
there
either.
either. So
I
what,
don't
all right,
either.
we got
It
him
was
taped. Now what?
Now what? Then I was just hanging out for a while until it came, until we got it off.
Just
I thought that was
It was
hilarious.
funny.
Just
It
to
was funny.
razz you a little bit.
Yeah,
probably.
that's all
you
it
know.
was. I mean, that was.
Pretty
He was a
awesome.
jock in high school, played football at MC. You know, he was
Yeah.
probably
He was
the punk
a
in the
prankster.
locker room, knocking everybody around,
I
being a
know that.
bully. You
Yeah.
know. Uncle Buck.
How's Hunter doing
Uncle
these
Bob.
days?
He's good, man. He works with Ergon.
Oh, really?
In the asphalt division.
Dang. Okay.
Had some buddies that stayed. I think he got linked up. I had a friend of his that was doing an intern type deal with them, and worked at Trustmark when he got out of school for a few years, getting his feet wet in the working world, and then
Yeah.
landed that deal. So
Yeah.
now he flies on planes everywhere.
That's cool.
Oh, he travels a lot.
Yeah, yes, Texas and a lot of big industrial areas.
That'll
and
that'll
stuff.
explain why I hadn't seen him recently. I love me some Hunter, man. He's a good dude.
Yeah, they've been
Good dude.
they're adding new divisions to Ergon, so it's pretty tough, man. I mean, he's asphalt's a fairly newer division for them, from what I understand. I don't know a great deal about it, but it's a lot of number crunching, and that never was my thing. He was always good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they're building on a whole wing to that building or whatever. So, well, good for him, man.
Ergon
That's awesome.
just-
Tell
I
him
don't- Ergon's just
Yeah.
huge. You wouldn't know how big Ergon is.
Well, and there's other
you wouldn't
things
believe
about it too, Lamps and Love, and I mean all kinds of different
Yeah,
things that are offsets of that major family.
Yeah.
Mountains.
My stepmom works for Ergon. I got other friends that work for Ergon. Hunter.
It's a great company from Mississippi, man.
Yeah,
For sure.
For sure.
We're going to have to figure out somebody over there to interview them one day. Know plenty of those folks. We may get Hunter on here.
Call him up, man.
That'd be cool.
Call him
That'll
up.
be good. So going back, okay, I'll get out of the past. And anyway, inside
something new
property.
about you
I
every
know.
day.
I know.
Learn something new.
That was fun. Well, that was a good time, man. It's a great family. He has a great family, so I'm glad everybody's doing well.
Well, buddy.
Insight Property Evaluations is your inspection company. But I asked you, so do you think you've got all this? You got all this background. I just want to go back to this. Do you think you're going to stay in the home inspection lane? Or have you considered being a contractor, like
Well,
building houses? Or
I think I
can you
veered
do-
off on your
after
story a
that?
minute ago.
Yeah.
I was in the process of studying for the test. I had all the
Okay.
books, just bought the books and all that stuff. And
So
and
you
the,
did think
the
about
code book for that test is
Yeah.
3 or 4 inches thick, and it's
Yeah.
a book that you work through for reference points to find information. It's not it's not like in the days of high school or college, you sitting down studying material and memorizing it to go test on it. It's literally, there's no way to memorize.
Yeah.
So it was an open book test. And after this happened, I didn't want to go in there frustrated, man, and not been. And then of course the floodgates kind of opened with the inspection world, and I was booking 5, 6, 7, 8 of them
That's
a week.
awesome,
and
man.
so I never really got around to it. So the information's there. It's just I've still got to finish up with the code book. And me, man, I'm not a big 3-time attempter. I like to try to be prepared for the first go around.
For
and
sure.
I've usually had good success with that in my life just from diligence and study and really. And, you know, nowadays, man, there's so many helpful points you can find on internet sources to how do I study for this the best. So I retain some information. It's not just a test that I'm gonna take and move on and forget all of it.
Right.
You know, as a builder, man, it matters. I mean, it's a big deal. And as a contractor, there's a lot at stake for you know, safety on a house and a lot of different aspects of it. But yes, it's a goal.
That's awesome.
You know,
keep us posted on that too.
The slower season's coming, so I you know, I'm prepared for. And I also do some contractors, you know, side work and repairs and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to use the slower times, pick up the books in the evenings, and try to start studying some again and getting proficient.
Hopefully, we can keep you real busy.
I hope so.
Yeah, for sure.
With the inspections.
Well, I hope we all get busy, man. Right now, it's just
for sure.
You know, it's hit or miss right now, and it always is that way in real estate. I haven't been doing this 20 years or anything, but almost 6, and I've seen it. I've seen it really getting after it, and really not so much.
Real estate's just one of those things,
Peaks
man.
and
It's a roller
valleys,
coaster.
peaks and valleys. And but I think market's rebalancing. We talk about this all the time, and here lately, and I feel like things are easing up. We're getting further into the new administration. I think it's gonna get better and better. Buyers are. I mean, houses are buying and selling now. Sellers are starting to put back. You know, inventory slowly creeping up. So we're seeing a little bit of a rebalancing. If they can figure out a good, you know, baseline interest rate, you know, I think it'll open up a lot more too. So hopefully we'll all get a little bit more busier.
Yes,
all the realtors and all the
like,
home inspectors.
Yeah, I feel like the market's definitely leveling out. We talked about this on one of our last ones, but I feel like we're getting close to where it's going to be for a little while.
Yeah, people will be all right with it. But I will say before we get out of here, though, that I'm super, super impressed with your knowledge and the way that you put, you go all in on your work. I'm impressed with, that you stay up with all the things that are going on, and you definitely.
I certainly try, man.
That's a lot
of stuff.
Dude, I'm proud of you, man, and I'm pulling for you. I'm excited for you in your business, and I'm happy. I'm 100% happy for you, dude, for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate it, big time.
Yeah, you're doing an excellent job. Just keep going.
And if y'all ever need me for anything, man, if I don't have an answer for it, I know who we can call. And if they ain't got an answer, we'll find somebody.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
You know,
there's a reason I keep calling you.
I feel like God's really protected me through this, and by protected I mean just blessed it, man. Just because of that mindset of like always learning, man. Always be willing to learn something because you don't know everything. You're going to see something eventually that you don't know.
That's exactly right.
Well, it's finding those resources of people that do know and say, hey, man, teach me. I want to know.
And that'll keep you ahead of the game.
Right. I mean, and that's the biggest thing for me. I don't ever want to give information that's, that can be debunked or that just is just crap I'm putting on a piece of paper. You know, I want it to be straightforward, and that way a contractor can pick up my report and go, yep, I know what he's talking about.
Yep.
And I try to use that language as much as possible, so it just simplifies that process in a lot of ways.
Sure.
Yep.
Some things are harder to say, obviously, but I try.
Yeah, I think you're doing an excellent job, man. Keep it up for sure.
You want to tell everybody where they can get a hold of you?
Yeah, man, plug away.
Well,
plug the business.
You know, I'm still, based on some of the things we've talked about with material, I'm still learning what kind of material does a home inspector put on a website. You know, you can promote your business and do all these things, but it has to be something that's, I don't want it to be just solely isolated on me and how great I'm the greatest in the land. Like I want it to be an informative deal. Yeah. You know, just finding some material for a web page is kind of next. You know, I've only been in this for 6 months at this point. Okay. You can find me on Facebook.
There you go.
There's some links on there to book to book inspections.
Is it just your name?
A lot of it's word of mouth, man.
But is it just on Facebook? Is there?
It's under Insight Property Evaluation.
There you go.
Okay. So go to Facebook, go to Insight Property Evaluations, search that.
Yep. And that's again, I'm still working on material, man. I'm not a big tech guy. I got to be honest with you, but I understand that's the way society is kind of shifting.
Yeah.
And it's coming.
Well, I know some people in the tech world.
I was going to say we got a few. There's a couple of resources.
We'd love to help you if you need help.
Yeah.
Sure.
I had a guy I was talking to the other day about a web page, and I said, man, I can tell you kind of the scope of what I want to see there, and then just let you do your thing, And some people have those minds, and these two are,
I know.
anything this guy touches is gold, man. It's from duck calls to next to the arrowheads.
Arrowhead, bro. So here we go.
He's gonna be
we
the
better
biggest
get off this
arrowhead
thing
supplier.
in a second. You're about to
I
get
do.
I
I am a Native American artifact enthusiast.
I like it.
I do love Native American artifacts.
Yeah.
I mean, I just
We're about to add another hour to the
look.
podcast.
I'm not going to get into it, but I love it. I mean, they hunted and had to survive, and I just loved all that.
Well, I wanted to say this, man, as y'all as well. Y'all are both incredible agents. I've done work with both of you.
Appreciate it, man.
I think this industry needs some straight laced folks, man, that just want to do it the right way.
Just try to be true.
Let's cut out all the the unnecessary stuff and just let's sell all of them.
Yeah,
I tell every agent, I hope y'all sell them all, man.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, man, I've been very impressed with your work. I'm excited for your business, and I'm excited to do the next one with you too.
Cool.
When I get my buyers,
Let's get it, man.
lined up, we could get there. So
Let's do it. It's coming. It's
Absolutely.
just this industry will test your patience like no other, man. I've had a lot of different jobs, and this one's it's tough.
Right there at the
It's
top.
tough at times. And I've learned too, man. Being an entrepreneur, you can go from 1 week of having $7,000 to $7 the next week.
Ain't no doubt.
Holy crap!
For sure.
What I do
That's
here?
right. That's right.
So it takes balance for sure.
Well, I want to say this too. Look, if you're an agent that's listening or somebody thinking about buying a house, selling a house, whatever, if you need a good inspector, Brock will do an amazing job. And I know that for a fact. He's done it for several of my clients.
He's done it for me.
Done it for him. So give Brock a call, and y'all go to Facebook and go check him out, and he'll do a great job for y'all. I know will. And that's why we got him on here. So with all that being said, thank you so much, Brock,
Yeah, man.
for being
Appreciate
here.
spending time.
Appreciate y'all today for listening. Everybody who's listening, we love y'all. We appreciate the support. Do not forget to go and like and subscribe and all the things to follow along with us and what we're doing. We love y'all. God bless.